Hello and welcome to the third part of Surviving to Thriving, where we dive into time management. When people think of managing time, the most common method utilized across numerous industries, roles, professions, and beyond is to-do lists. Many people will say at the mere mention of to-do lists that they are experts with their to-do lists, even offering their knowledge and expertise to improve your to-do lists. Through this part of Surviving to Thriving, I will share methods to maximize your to-do lists, transforming your relationships with them, so that instead of you working for them, they work for you. Now, coming back to people saying they know so much about to-do lists, when I was developing this very program, I shared with a manager at the time that I was working on it, and they said immediately, I know a lot about to-do lists. In fact, I plan my entire year. I said, you know everything will happen within a year? He answered yes. Now, without a crystal ball or time machine, there is no way to predict the future. But they did have a point. We are aware of numerous things that we can plan for in a year. This led me to develop the big to small approach to to-do lists. The big to small to-do list model starts by writing down everything for the entire year. For example, when your insurance is due for renewal, project submission dates, and so on. Warning: this can be terrifying when you do this at first, for you will see everything you have to do in a year. Just remember that you have an entire year to complete it. Once you have the year to-do list ready, you use prioritization to identify when things need to commence and be completed. So next comes monthly to-do lists, weekly to-do lists, and finally daily to-do lists. This system allows you to focus on what is needed now, not being distracted by what is coming, with the knowledge that you will address it when it arrives. This method embodies the mentality that helped me handle most work and tasks. Before embracing this mentality, I would work like crazy to complete the task, job, or work, looking forward to the break as the reward I deserved, only to receive more work and more work. The mentality is imagining our work and roles and jobs are like being on a conveyor belt. Work comes in, you complete the task, and more work will come. By embracing this mentality, we approach this type of work like a marathon instead of a sprint, pacing ourselves and not being disappointed when another mile looms over the horizon or that following task lands on our desks. Before we look further into to-do lists, I will share a story of when I worked briefly with a former British Army analyst. This analyst was employed as a consultant to review the performance and efficiency of the NHS Community Mental Health Team, CMHT for short, I was working in. The analyst sat with me for a whole day, observing how I worked and writing down every step I took concerning the work I was completing. He did this with several team members, watching how we worked, how many people we supported, time spent on each task, and so on. The analyst found that the CMHT I was working in was operating at 110% efficiency based on the numbers of staff employed compared to the services and appointments offered and provided to those patients. When he presented his findings to the team leaders and executives, they were overjoyed at these productivity levels. The analyst stated immediately that this was a really bad situation to be in. The analyst stated this situation was bad due to the British military work equation. The CMHT was at 110% efficiency due to the team members not taking holidays. They were not taking time off for sickness unless they were bedridden, and they worked overtime. This was a recipe for burnout, which has an accumulative effect. For one team member would go off with sickness or burnout, their workload is then spread across the remaining team members, who were already past capacity, leading to increased strain and overtime, and more importantly, burnout. The effect on the service team members is like falling dominoes. The British military have worked with people for many years. During this time, they have developed an equation for calculating the maximum efficiency of any service, and I would suggest individuals. They factor in 3 components when reviewing the potential efficiency of any service. These are: number 1, holidays. Everyone deserves and needs a break from time to time. Number 2, sickness. Eventually everyone will experience some form of illness that will impact their ability to work. Number 3, the unknown. Whenever we set off in any endeavor, it is impossible to foresee all potential risks, circumstances, and potential outcomes. So the British military factors this into their initial plans, allowing space for these unknowns to be managed when and if they present themselves. The British military calculates these elements into efficiency of any system, organization, and I would say individuals, finding that they can operate at a maximum of 70 to 80% efficiency. Here's an example of how most people design their time when calculating when they can complete a task. Imagine you are due to write an essay, to which we apply the British military equation over a 4-week period. 70 to 80% of a 4-week averages out at 3 weeks to complete that essay. You may plan to have 1 week for research, 1 week to write the main body, and 1 week to produce the introduction, conclusion, and proofread. If everything goes as planned, you may have a week to reward yourself with as you finish at the time you set. Let's imagine though that things don't go as you plan. You couldn't find the research you hoped for in the first week. Thanks to the equation, you can allocate a few days for further study. At times like these though, I always remember some advice I received from a PhD student I supported regarding research. They said that every day someone is publishing something. It is often actually 6 months out of date by the time it is published. With this in mind, you could research forever. They said that you have to draw a line in the sand somewhere, saying this is as far or what I could find, analyze and write about in the time I had available. For you have to submit something when it is due. Imagine that something does not go as you intended during your essay production. Your washing machine breaks, the roof leaks, or worse, your computer stops working. Tip for anyone, always back up your work. If you had planned every day, hour and second for the 4 weeks, you would not have any space to accommodate these unforeseen circumstances. Thanks to working with a 70 to 80% efficiency approach, you have space to address any of these potential unknown situations and still meet the due date of your essay. Look to incorporate this equation into how you strategize your time and your to-do lists. I hope you noticed another element that improves to-do lists' effectiveness: breaking tasks down. So often we write down a big job, forgetting to mention the numerous elements required to complete such a task. For example, an essay. Some people may write an essay on their to-do lists, but as we mentioned previously, it involves research, writing, introductions, conclusions, proofreading, and so much more. Each a task of its own. Breaking tasks down into their fundamental elements captures our realities. Have you ever reached the end of your day and looked at your to-do list and said, is that all I've done? How useless am I? Going on to berate yourself? This is an example of to-do lists not capturing your reality. You have done many things in your day, but they were not on your to-do list, therefore not registered. You may have cared for a friend or a family member, walked your dog, cooked your meals for the week, done your laundry, and so on. Perhaps the task on your to-do list is multifaceted, complicated tasks with numerous subtasks not reflected on your to-do list. Going forward, I want you to note down everything you do daily, allowing you to see your reality. More than this, it allows you to start seeing your distractions. Document everything you do during your day. Start to see how much time you spend on your phone, not related to your work. For our phones are designed to grab and, more importantly, keep our attention, which they do incredibly well. I suggest putting your phone on Do Not Disturb or airplane mode, or even off when you wish to focus. Review all the tabs on your programs open on your computer. If they're not related to your work, close them. Review all of your distractions and see which you can eliminate and which you can manage. For example, a friend knocks on your door while you're writing an essay, an important document, asking if you would like a cup of tea. You answer, yes, decaf, no sugar, thanks. You turn back to your work, your document, saying, oh God, where was I? Taking 20-30 minutes to find your way back to where you were. Going forward in such situations, I suggest putting a sign on your door saying, person at work, come back at lunchtime. So the next time your friend comes to offer that drink and that kindness, they say, oh yeah, I'll come back later. Protect your workspace and reduce your distractions. The more you can focus on your work, the greater chance you have of getting your work done. For want of a better phrase, you must devote yourself to your work to be able to do your work. Freeing yourself of past tasks. Imagine you have been working so hard on a project or an essay for weeks or even longer. You reach submission time and you submit your work. Shortly after, you receive an email stating that your work has been received and you will hear an outcome in due course. Has anyone ever said, is that it? I have been slogging my guts out for all this time and I get a poxy little email saying they got it? In these situations, I find these people are carrying all of the anxiety, stress, and strain of the entire period. The end does not equate to all the emotions still residing within them. Here is a psychologically proven technique to improve a to-do list and manage such long-term stressful situations. It involves drawing a little checkbox at the end of each task. When you complete it, you check that checkbox. By checking the tasks and the checkbox of it, your brain starts to acknowledge that you have completed something. So your mind starts to feel relief. Going beyond this, I would like you to put a big thick line through that task, like you are scratching that thing out of your life, removing it from your existence. This allows you to see this task is completed, not just from like 1 meter, but maybe even 5 meters away. By checking things off and scratching that tasks out of your life, you are not only letting yourself know that you've completed these tasks, but you also give yourself permission to let go of the burden they have placed upon you. So the next time you arrive at a situation when you submit and complete that big project or equivalent, you are not carrying all the strain from the first day. You are simply checking off another task from the numerous ones before. Finally, here are the key points I'd like you to take away from this section. Number 1, big to small to-do list model. Building annual, monthly, weekly, and daily to-do lists based on prioritization allows you to focus on your current tasks, knowing the rest are in hand when they arrive. Number 2, the British military equation. 70 to 80% efficiency model allows for sickness, breaks, and more importantly, the unknown. Number 3, check boxes allow you to let go of the stress of that task. Number 4, scratching that thing, drawing the line through that completed task increases the effectiveness of letting go of the stress. And there you have it. That is my approach to time management, which I hope serves you in the future, your future endeavors. If you did find this helpful, please do like and subscribe as it really helps the channel. And should you know anyone who could benefit from this video, please share it with them. Don't forget the other Surviving to Thriving videos, which I hope can benefit you as much as this one. Finally, should you like to access a richer and more fulfilling life, full of joy, happiness, love, and so much more, I am proud to announce, after 20 years in the making, my work, The Compass, in the form of a book as well as an online program, which you will find links to in the description below this very video. And ciao for now.